Now that we've got the whole house laid out, it's time to work on the electrical plan. So for this, the first thing I'm going to do is just turn off this tracing layer here. We don't need that right now. And I'm going to show you the difference of the plan views here. This is when this is going to start to come into importance. So far, we've just been working on the layout and in general, and now we're going to get into more specific views. So I've just been using this working plan view so far, and if you're in Home Designer Pro, you do not have this option. So you need to just go into your layer sets, into your layer options, and turn off and on layers to get your different views. So, but here we're going to use, I'm going to go over and use this electrical plan view that's preset for me here. So that's going to change some of my other options here. That's going to put me onto a layer set that turns off some layers over here and make sure our electrical layer is on, and it changes the look of some other things. It simplifies the plan a little bit so that the focus is on the electrical. So that's what we want for this. And the other thing it did is it changed our annotation set here. So what that's going to do is change the text style, and any dimensions, anything else that we do goes to just this electrical plan. So then later, if we do another plan set, then everything for electrical is only on the electrical plan. So that is the setup that we're going to start with. But the first thing I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to turn off my room layer labels, because I want to see my rooms just clean, and right now they're just kind of visually in my way. So I'm just going to turn those off. Okay, and so you'll remember that when we worked on the kitchen and the bathroom and the laundry room, we added in a few lights as we were going in there as part of our layout. Mostly the decorative lights we added, and then we just dropped in a few can lights to light up the rooms. So that was the beginning of our electrical plan, but now we're going to finish the rest of it out and fine tune it. Okay, let's just get started by looking at the options under our electrical tools. Over here, we've got our regular 110 volt outlet. Of course, this is if you're in North America, but this is just your regular plugs that you're going to have around your house. This is your 220s. This is where you're going to have your large appliances like your dryer and probably your range. And then this light is going to be a recessed light by default here. The rope lights are just exactly what they say, a rope light. I use them for under cabinet lighting, over cabinet lighting, anything else where you need a linear type light. These are your switches. This will auto place the outlets throughout the room, so we'll get into that. And then this is the connection. This is the little dashed line that connects your switch to your light in your room. So let's start with this auto place outlets. Let's look at what this does. So if I'm going to just click this and I click into the room, so you can see it placed those outlets throughout the room on most of the walls, on each wall. So now I can go back and fine tune exactly where I want those to be. But in general, it's going to place them at distances throughout the room for you. So I can just go around then and easily click through all of my rooms where I want outlets to go. So that's the bedroom. I'm going to click in the kitchen, and you can see here that it knows that this is the kitchen because I have it labeled as the kitchen. And so it also knows that I have plumbing fixtures. And so it has made these automatically GFCIs, which is super important in any of your wet areas. And so I'm going to have to go back and fine tune where all of these are and add in some of, my 220s and other things, but it has added these. And let's add them in the bathroom. So again, I have this labeled bathroom and it's added them here as GFCIs there, which is great. Let's add them to the laundry. So it's added all there. Now I'm not going to, I do want outlets in other rooms, but I don't necessarily want them everywhere. So I'm just going to do them individually from here. So in this hallway, I'm going to add one in the hallway. Just because for me personally, I always like to add an outlet in a hallway. I'll add one over here as well. It's just, they're handy to have in hallways, if you're cleaning or whatever. So, and then I'm going to add one into the closet also. I like to add them into the closet, if someone's wants to have their ironing board or something in there. So I typically add one in there. And then this is the pantry, so we could add one in the pantry as well. So, and then I'm not going to add one in the entry. Okay, so sometimes we want electrical outlets outside for plugging in Christmas lights or extension cords for power tools, whatever they are. So I'm going to add one out here. And you'll see it automatically knows that this is outside, and it made it a weatherproofed outlet. And we will look at this in 3D in a minute and kind of look at the difference of those. So I like to add those. I'll add one out here also in the little front entry, so it also named that a weatherproof, which is super handy. All right, so let's add our 220s for our dryer and our range. All right, so now we can kind of go in and clean those up a little bit. So I'm just going to escape out, and you can just grab those and scoot them wherever you want them to go. So I know right here, this is my living room. So right here, I want my TV and kind of entertainment center or whatever it's going to be is centered in that room. So I'm going to have all of my electrical there. And so I might move this one then to this wall. And then I probably don't need two on this wall, so I'm just going to delete that and maybe scoot that over. So I'm okay with that. I'm going to have a table, the space for a table or possible desk. So this is a teeny little house, so this would be a space if you wanted to have your maybe desk for your home office or something there. So I'm going to definitely have plenty of power here. And let's see here in the bedroom, I want the bed to go here. So I'm going to put an outlet here, and I'm going to center this one so that I could have a TV mounted on this wall. And let's see, that one would be handy on that wall. So I've got some on each wall. I don't know, sometimes you can't have too many plugs, but I'm just going to leave it there. What's happening in the bathroom? So it added 3 plugs here in the bathroom, which probably don't need, might get kind of messy. I'm going to just delete the one in the center. That way each person here has a plug, a his and a hers if they need it. And right now they're on this wall. I might move this one to this wall just for something different. Let's see, let's look at the kitchen. So the kitchen, it gave me all my GFCIs, which is great. So let's see, I've got one here, so I've got one on each cabinet area. I'm actually going to move this one. I don't need this one behind the range. So I'm going to, I've got the window there, so I can't have one on this side. So I'm going to delete that one. And this one will be for the refrigerator. And then this is a tall pantry cabinet, so I don't need one back behind there. So that's it. Okay. So it did not automatically add one in my island, which we have to have one in the island. So I'm going to add one there. And you can see it'll grab to the side of the island. And when we look at it in 3D, you'll be able to see that. So Chief is really intuitive about the electrical, and it makes it so super easy for you. Okay, so let's add some lights. So I added some lights quickly in the kitchen and the bathroom and in the laundry room. But I may want to adjust these, and I definitely want a decorative light here over my dining table and here in the center of my living room. I want one in my entry, the bedroom. So we're going to add some lights there. And let's just go over to our library. And let's see. Okay, let's go into a bonus catalog. And let's go down. Let's see. I've got all the lighting catalogs here. So let's lighting number 1. Okay, let's go to lighting number 1 and this shell lighting. I'm going to use this little shell chandelier here over my dining table, where my dining table is going to be. And let's see, what else do I want? Okay, and then for my entryway, I want to use also a fixture from this collection. Let's see, it's here under pendants. I'm going to use this little star pendant here in my entry. And let's see, for my bedroom, I'm going to use a couple of pendants over the bed or over the nightstands on either side. I know I don't have a furniture layout in here yet for you, but I wanted to keep this clean so we can just see the electrical. So where is that one? That one's under in the Mediterranean catalog. See, I'm going to use these lantern style that are going to hang here in this room rather than bedside lamps. I'm going to use these hanging fixtures there. And let's see, we need a piece for the center here. So why don't we use one of these that kind of coordinates there. And we'll see what that looks like. Maybe we'll change that out. We'll see. It's part of the design process, right? Okay, so now we've got decorative fixtures everywhere that I want them. So for the rest of the spaces, I'm just going to put in some just recessed cans. So in this room, I'll see here in the closet, I'm just going to put a couple here in the closet. One in the hallway, one in this hallway, pantry. Let's put a couple in the pantry. I've already done them there. We've got a light there. So let's put some here for general lighting in this living room. We'll just put some around here. Okay. So, and I don't need one in that closet. So, let's see. I want to put a light out here. Let's see, let's put one in here inside the porch, and then let's put one outside here. So we'd put one out there in the back. So I'm just going to actually copy that one. I'm going to use this one, copy. And I'm just going to hold position so that then I can just grab it and move it right there. And it will automatically snap to that wall. Okay, I've got everything. No, I'm going to add some more lights here. But you know what I want in here? Because I have this cathedral ceiling in this room. If I put can lights, they're going to go at strange angles. So I'm going to put an adjustable eyeball light. So I'm just going to search that in the catalog. I think it's going to come up. Yeah. So we can have this movable, rotatable eyeball light. So that ceiling comes up like this. So I'm just going to put a couple on this side of the room, and we'll see what that looks like in 3D. Maybe we don't want too many in there. It is the bedroom after all. Okay. So now let's add some switches for all of these lights. So I'm just going to start here at the front of the house so that we kind of go in a logical order. So this switch option here, it always grabs to the wall. So that gives you a single switch. You can go over here to the library, and let's see if we can look at it. I don't remember what folder it's in. Let's see, electrical. Yeah, here we go, switches. So actually over here in the library, you have all sorts of more options than you have over here. So these are all the defaults, but you have all of these other outlets, jacks, everything else that you might need. And so we're going to add some of these as well. And so here, if you need other types of switches, now sometimes, you need to have them gang together like that. So here's some dimmers, all sorts of other options for you. Right now, we're just going to go with the basic single switches, and then we may use some multiples. So actually, let's use some multiples here, because right here, we need, when we walk in this front door, we need to be able to turn on this light, and we need to be able to turn on these outside lights. So we probably want a double in there. So I'm just going to grab this one and see, now it's going to give you a double switch. And there's another catalog actually in the bonus catalogs that have the different style of switches. So you can find those too if you don't want these kind of old-fashioned looking ones. Okay, so I've added this double switch here. So let's see, what else are we going to need? So now in this room, I want, let's have some switches here, so that when you come in the front door, if you want to turn these lights on, you can. And so we probably want one switch for these, and we want one switch for our decorative light in the center. So we'll put a double one there. And then you probably want to control it from this side of the room too. So if you're coming out of the bedroom and you want to turn in, or coming out of the kitchen and you want to turn on lights here. So let's think about what's happening over here. I want to be able to, I probably want like a triple one over here, so that I can control these lights, this light, and these lights from there. So let's do that. And then on, all right, let's just keep working from this side. So now that I've got those connections, that switching there, I can add my connections. So that connection will just snap to that, and then you pull it over and let go, and it automatically makes that nice arc. So now I can pull it to that one and then connect those two. So now I've got my switching set up. So for this one, I've got those lights, and I've got that light. And then these are all going to connect together. And sometimes it puts them in a nice direction, and sometimes you need to update it. So you can just grab that handle and pull that around to however you want that to look, so that it looks nice and clean on your plan. All right, so in here we're going to connect, those lights on that side. We're going to connect that one, and then we're going to connect our can lights. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, I don't want this light in this corner. So I'm just going to get rid of that and do that. All right, so now I've got that switching done. And I'm going to add a switch over here to turn on my under cabinet light. So that's just going to be a single switch. I'm just going to put that over here and connect that to those. Occasionally it doesn't want to, there it goes. Sometimes it doesn't want to snap. I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger so that it's a little bit more obvious. There we go. Okay, so that turns on my under cabinet lights, and then I need, actually I'm going to add one more over here. I'm going to add another switch here. Nope, there we go. To turn on my decorative lights there. Let's see, I'm going to just scoot those over here. And connect those together. And I'm going to add another switch over the sink. Okay, I'm trying to select the line. There it goes. And just remember, these are just showing how the switching is working. Your electrician will actually decide exactly how this is all going to be connected together. So this is just to show you what lights are connected to what switching, so that the contractor knows how you want it to work in general, and they will make the decisions about exactly how the wiring is going to lay out. Obviously, it's not going to lay out outside of the house like this. So this is just for illustration purposes. So I'm actually going to add a double switch here. That's gonna, it really actually will probably go underneath this cabinet, but it's getting really messy. So I'm just gonna put it right there for now, because I want one to turn on this light, and I want the other one is going to connect to a garbage disposal that's going under there. And we'll get into some, and it's not going to connect. There's no electrical. It's not showing any electrical here. And I'm not going to worry about trying to place 3D model or anything in that. Because I'm not doing any like actual detailing or rendering of that area. So what I'm going to do instead is just use this arc tool and just manually draw an arc. And then I can tab select that. There we go. And then open up its dialog box. And I can, okay, it's gonna put it on, no, not the default layer. I'm going to put it onto the electrical layer. And so that's going to turn it red. And I'm going to make it dashed so that it matches those other lines. So now it looks like these lines, and it's essentially the same thing, but you can do that manually. And then I'm going to drop in a note. So I can add a note here that there is a garbage disposal, and I can also note the other appliances, the microwave that's going to need power, the dishwasher here that's going to need power. So let's go to our annotation tool here, and I can, let's do a leader line, and I can make a arrow and then click the arrow again, and now I get my text option, and I can say garbage disposal. Okay, so let's add another note here for the microwave. And let's call this, let's just name this fridge without a leader line. So you can see that came through in a different sized font. So I can go back and adjust these here in a minute so that it all matches. So let's see, this is the, let's call this, add a note for this is the range. The more labels that you can use, the better, so that your contractors don't have to search back and forth between any other pages or specs or notes. If you can, note pages, if you can add notes here, it really helps them on site so they're not searching for information. So actually, I decided I don't like that. So we're going to make that microwave there. Going to tab select that. Okay. So if we wanted to change this text style here, the way that that's coming through, we would need to go into our default settings and make that change there. But we could just change it for just this one purpose for here. Go by going here, and we can go to, we can just select that text, and let's just make that 4 inches instead, just so that that's a little bit smaller. There we go. And okay, I can see that I forgot to add my switching and connections for my 2 pendants over the island. So I'm just going to add that. I'll just add that over here next to this one. And then add my connection there and there. And then we might just clean this up a little bit so that all of those connections are obvious. Okay, so there's our kitchen. Actually, I might add a switch on this side, so if you're coming out of the bedroom and you want to turn on the overhead lights in here, you can do that. So let's add the switch there. And then you'll see what happens when we have switching on 2 separate sides. When I add this connection here, that changes that into that 4-way switch, so that when it switches, so that it knows it's connected. So it knows it's connected to those switch. This is this switch over here as well. So it all Chief makes that very easy for you. All right, let's add some switching in the rest of the rooms. Okay, now we've got all of our lights and switching and plugs. I'm going to add another element that I like to include in my electrical plans, which is my internet connections for the house. So back here under the electrical, we've got, let's see, under networking here. We've got several options here, and if you click on them here, you can see what they look like. So we can just use one of these. We don't really use these kind of cables anymore when we're installing new stuff. So these all kind of look the same, and you can specify which one you want. I'm just going to use this to represent my internet connections for my TV and cable. Actually, let's use that combination one, because it's going to be our internet and our TV, and it's got a label there. So I want one there in my living room. I want one here in my kitchen, so that I can have a desk here if I wanted to plug in directly from my computer. You're going to need somewhere for your main router in the house too, and so sometimes I'll put those in a closet. So you could add a connection here too if you wanted to add maybe a shelf in this closet. To set up your Wi-Fi for the house maybe. So I'm going to put one here in the bedroom for a direct connect to either have a TV or a desk in the bedroom if you wanted to. So I like to add those. Let's see what else is over here under the electrical stuff. So let's add a floor plug here in the living room. Right here is the floor mounted plugs. And also if you use just this one, if you go to the wall, it turns into these. If you just place it in the floor, it automatically turns it into a floor plug. So I probably want like 2 of those here, because if I'm going to put my TV here and my sofa here, I'm going to want floor plugs there. So let's put a couple of floor plugs in that room, and let's see what else. What else have we got over here? What's under special? So you can go ahead and specify your doorbell if you wanted to. You could, if you've got low voltage, here's your thermostat. You could specify where you wanted your thermostat. If we maybe want to have that, maybe we want that over here in the hallway by the bedroom, to specify your thermostat there, or your AC control, different things. So let's see what's under switches. We already looked at switches. In interiors, let's look at your options for the electrical over here. We're also going to have that electrical plan view here, which sets that all up for you with all of these defaults as well. And then if you go to your electrical options here, you have all the same options here, except yes, you have all the same options here. And then if you go over to your library, let's get out of that, then you've got your same library here with all of your electrical options here for your jacks and your switches and all of your electrical symbols here. So that's going to be the same in interiors. And then if we go over to Home Designer Pro, so you're going to have slightly different options. You don't have the presets like we've talked about, so you'll have to turn on and off your layers manually over here in the layer display. And then if you go here to your electrical, you have everything here except for those rope lights that we used in the kitchen. So that's not an option here, but there is an option, a workaround here. You can go over here to, let's see, where did I find that? It is in your, it's here in architectural under lighting. And then here's all your lighting options. So there is cabinet lighting here, so these options, and then there's some tube lighting reset. So you just need to use one of these light fixtures rather than that rope light that we had used in the kitchen. Let's take a look at what all of this electrical stuff is looking like in 3D, and also we can take a look at an elevation. So let's just take a floor overview and take a look inside. Let's look in the kitchen. So you can see that where it added my plugs in the kitchen, it automatically made them above the countertop height, which is super helpful. And so that's where I placed that one, and it's not in the right place there, so I'm just going to scoot that over visually there. So let's look. You can see where it added the plug there in my island. It automatically knew that. It did the floor plug, the floor outlet there. So let's see what if I used. So they've got some with covers, a single, and then here's one actually that I like better for this. So I could just switch that out, and I can show you another trick that I can select that item. I can right click it, and then I can go to replace from library. And then I can go into the library, and then I can choose it from there. And then, okay. And that'll switch that one out for me. So that's another trick that when you look at it and you don't like it. So actually, since I've got it here, I'm just going to do it like this because that's kind of faster. And delete that. So you can see here, so I can kind of rearrange those so they look better in 3D if I'm doing a rendering or something and I want to make sure that those look right. But you can see they automatically add them at the correct height above the floor, but you can change those if you need to. You can move those around any way that you like. It automatically does it above the countertops. In the bathroom, the same thing. It did not account for my backsplash though here, so I'm going to go ahead and move that up above my backsplash. So you can rearrange them, but it does intuitively know most of where they're supposed to go. Same with your wall switches. It places them at the proper height as well there. So the other thing you can do is look at it in elevation. So let's just take a wall. Let's take a wall elevation of that kitchen there. So you can see my plugs here and my switches for my dishwasher and my overhead light there. And so you can also move things around here visually too, if you wanted to. So let's, like, I probably want that one more over in the corner. And I might even want to add another one over here, but I'm just going to leave that as it is for now. And so we can just see what it looks like in elevation. So let's just exit out of that. And you can see here where I moved that over. The symbols don't, if it looks right here, it doesn't always look right here. So if I'm doing a rendering and I want to make sure that that looks right, I would rearrange that that way. But for my construction documents, I don't want these overlapping, so I'm going to go ahead and do them like this so that they look right in my construction drawing. And then when I go back to do my rendering, I might fix that if they even show. So let's go back to our plan view. Okay, so that is everything that I want to add for my electrical plan, and we will get into sending this over for printing here in a bit.